right, all right. Welcome back to the Okayest Cook Podcast. I am your host, Chris Whonsetler, and I am coming at you back from the office with a very special guest. Everybody meet Rikki Folger. How are you doing today, Rikki?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Coming at us from Denver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out central United States, doing I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing these days?
Well, wrapping up the season at Budges Wilderness Lodge. I ran down to Denver to move into my apartment. But we are finishing up second rifle elk season up there and just have had a really crazy successful season. So very excited about that.
But you're a cook for them, or a chef. You're a
I
chef.
am.
You're
I'm their
chef, not a
executive
cook,
chef.
right?
Yeah. and I also manage the lodge as well. So reservations, client needs, and organizing everything. So basically right now I'm a glorified grocery getter. We have two really amazing Amish cooks, but it's it's a 6-hour round trip drive to the store. So it takes all day to bring in groceries and propane.
So you better plan ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes. Well, Rikki, I met you at POMA not too long ago. So the Professional Outdoor Media Association. What do they call it? It's like the national convention. It's a once a year get together.
Yeah.
That they do. Super fun organization. I'm, to be honest, not a member, but I need to be. Like, it's super fun. It's just an awesome organization full of outdoor creatives. Mostly writers and I guess chefs join.
Yeah, chefs,
photographers,
and content creators, and I mean it's a great group of people, and I've met a lot
fun
of
mix of people.
People through that.
I had a blast. Yes. Well, I met you. It was super cool.
Yeah.
And you're also connected with Harvesting Nature. You do some content for them. Yeah. Awesome.
I do their events management. So we have a couple of new events. Right now we're focusing on pig hunting mainly, but next year we hope to dive into some other species and areas. So right now we have 2 classes every year in Texas. So it's, probably the best weekend that you could ever have, especially as a new hunter. We teach you how to sight in your rifles, how to hunt, and then how to break down your game yourself, and then teach you how to cook it. So it's a lot of fun. If you haven't done it before, I definitely recommend checking it out.
Well, we had Justin and Adam on an episode not too long ago, and just Adam, just his mind is like crazy. So I would love to go just to see what he's doing in the kitchen. And
it's amazing to just watch him cook and come up with all these recipes. And he's just all around just such a funny guy too. He's awesome. It's such a good time.
Yes. Well, and Hank Shaw, he's going to be at one coming up, isn't he?
He will. Yeah. In April or May. I think it's in April. But that is going to be a really exciting class. I know that I'm super excited to go, and I'm going to learn a ton from him. And it'll be exciting.
Are you going to be at all of them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sick. Yeah. Yeah. So Rikki, go learn from Rikki. She does okay in the kitchen. I haven't eaten any of your food, so I can't judge too hard, but it looks so good.
Thank you.
Just the descriptions and the pictures and the videos on your social and the lodge's socials, just, it's got me drooling, got me thinking. Well, before we get diving in too hard here, have you, let's talk about some notable meals of the week. Have you eaten anything cool or dreamt of anything cool that you need to try?
Just a simple breakfast. I have some leftover bear sausage from an event that I did earlier this summer. Nice. So I made breakfast sandwich patties out of the bear sausage and fried a duck egg to put on top, and just a simple English muffin and some cheddar cheese. And it was amazing.
I would not call a bear duck egg sandwich simple.
It's simple to make.
Okay. That way. Yes. Did you make the sausage too, or
I did not? No. Okay. It was all donated for this event, and we didn't quite get to use all of it. So I was like bear Italian sausage, and I added a little bit of maple syrup in it as well, just to make it a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah.
But it was spicy and delightful.
Nice. I have not tried bear yet. They don't come down to Indiana, so can you, if you had to compare it to another species? I mean, is it more like porky, or is it more?
No, it's very much like beef. What is funny is I've had a couple of people come into the lodge, and we do bear hunts out of the lodge as well. It's not, like its own thing, but if you have an elk tag and you also have a bear tag, we'll take you out. But a lot of our fly fishing clients had never tried bear before. And I would equate it very much to, a roast, like a steak roast, nice. If prepared, correctly. And obviously you have to cook it, above 137 for trichinosis issues. But if you cook it in the right spices and stocks, it really is very mild but rich as well. It doesn't have a gamey flavor, I don't think, at all.
Okay, nice. Well, I keep hearing just rave reviews over bear and bear fat, and it's on my list. Like I got my food bucket list. I need to try bear. And
absolutely.
We'll get to it later, but mountain lion is also on my bucket list. Like I need to try some of that. So
it is some of the most amazing meat I've ever had.
Yes, but again, Indiana, they don't come here, so I got to go find them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, one of my notable meals this week was ratatouille. I've seen the movie, but like I've never had the dish until recently. Another awesome local podcast, Harder Brunch here in Indianapolis. They do it right. Like they get together and eat and then record the podcast. And those guys can cook. And like he did a whole big old spattering of all sorts of stuff. But like the ratatouille was amazing. I forget what the sauce was called. Like, is it like a romesco sauce, or I think it's like some nut-based tomato
Romanesco
sauce.
Well, that's a cauliflower. Maybe. Romesco sounds right.
I took a screen. He said something, and I took a screenshot, and I need to look it up again. But it was just beautiful. It looks like it's going to be super acidic and harsh, but it was like the most mellow dish, and just like it all just melted in your mouth. And oh my gosh, it was so good. And of course, he plated it. Too. Oh yeah, he plated it beautifully, and which is one of my weak points. Like I need to learn how to make things look prettier. So if you have tips on that, I'd love to.
I'm learning that right along with you. I just don't have the patience. Once I'm done cooking, I just want to eat.
Yes,
I have to stop myself and say, you need to take a picture of this and make it look nice. Working on that.
Yeah, it's like Colton, one of our other co-hosts here. He's just like eating out of the 9x13 pan and getting yelled at. So.
It's ready to go. Just eat it.
Yes. Well, let's just dive into some of your adventures here. On your socials, you're posting all sorts of crazy stuff. Most notably, you posted something about dandelion jam or jelly other day. That was a while ago. But do you want to talk about that for a hot sec?
At the lodge, we have so many dandelions around. And I've always grown up thinking that it's a weed, although a very pretty weed.
It is.
You can use the roots, the leaves, the blossoms. Like it's honestly like packed with nutrients in this weed. So I went around and harvested a bunch of dandelion blossoms. And this is my first time making it. And I feel like going into next season, I'll make it way differently to save myself a couple of hours. But basically you make a dandelion tea. So you pick the blossoms, take the actual flower part out of the base and soak the flowers in hot water. And honestly, it tastes a lot like chamomile. It's very herbaceous and a little bit sweet. And then you take that tea and mix it with gelatin and sugar so it sets. Really, really easy, but such an interesting flavor. I think it would go well with, scones. And I wanted to make clotted cream for it, but then I started looking up recipes, and that takes a very long time. When you're in the backcountry and you're running off propane in an almost 100-year-old wooden lodge, I really didn't want to leave the oven running all night without watching it. So that'll be a project for, when I'm down, done at the lodge.
Well, clotted, can you explain clotted cream?
I've
had it. I've had it in Europe.
Yeah.
I've never seen it here in America.
It's called by a couple of different names, clotted cream being probably the most unappetizing name for it. But basically it's just baked heavy cream and sugar. And then it's
kind of a cream cheese-ish
I would equate it to like a loose cream cheese.
Yeah.
So sweeter, very spreadable, but just delicious.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Don't judge by its cover. Like I said, the name is terrible.
When I was growing up, I was like, clotted cream, that sounds awful.
Yes.
But I've had it and I'm like, okay, actually this is really good.
But yeah, you're right. I think like that chamomile flavor with the clotted cream, like on just like a neutral scone, I think would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Kind of the dandelion jam, let's go back there. Would you consider that more of like a savory jam, or like are you adding a bunch of sugar as well?
There's a lot of sugar in it.
Okay.
I think I didn't like it as sweet as I made it. So I think that I would definitely pull back on the sugar.
Okay.
I guess I use pectin. I guess I would try to do a higher ratio of pectin and less sugar.
Gotcha.
To cut down that sweetness. But again, it's, just kind of a science experiment. And once I get it to where I'd like it, I'll repost the recipe.
Yeah. Is pectin, is that sweet by itself?
No, it's very neutral.
Okay. So I know pectin is like the stuff in fruit that makes it solidify into jam and jelly, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's naturally occurring in a lot of different fruits.
Okay. But it's fairly neutral in flavor.
I think so.
You think?
I didn't taste it on its own, but I'm assuming it's just like
you don't just want to like try it?
Powder. No.
Turn your intestines into jam.
I should have though. Yeah.
That's fun. No, I've been like really craving like the savory things. So like how do you convert stuff from like sweet to savory? And I saw somebody online talking about like some crab ice cream. And I guess it might have been an AI creation. Oh. But just like the presentation looked super cool. The description sounded super cool, but like a savory crab ice cream.
Did you ever watch Iron Chef?
A little bit, yeah.
They had an ice cream machine, and they would always make fun of people who made savory ice cream.
Oh, they've done it.
Well, I've made sweet corn ice cream,
okay,
which I would kind of consider a savory ice cream, but it still is on the sweet side.
Flirting with that line, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is amazing.
That's awesome.
The first bite is a little off-putting, but once you start eating it, it's really, really good.
What do you eat that with? Like, is it just by itself, or do you make other stuff?
It was years ago. I'm trying to remember what I blended it with, but I don't.
Would putting it with cornbread be too much? Too much corn?
No, that would like a cheesy cornbread.
Oh my gosh!
Or like a corn cracker or something to get that texture.
Yeah.
We might
be on something. Let's go. So sweet corn, that sounds fascinating. Yeah. Any kind of savory. Like I love the savory. Mm-hmm. I like sweet too, but like I'm at that age, I guess, where like sweet's just kind of like meh. I'm bored.
It's like a one bite and done. Like, I liked that.
Yeah, it's what it does to the waistline isn't really worth the flavors now. But yeah, so anything we can do like in the savory realm, like I'm all about that. That sounds awesome. So I forget where we were going with that. Just down the ice cream tangent. Talking about savory jam, I guess.
Red pepper jelly is fun to make.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
I've never made it, but my buddy makes some and love that stuff. Just on bagel with cream cheese. Yes. That's still pretty sweet.
I stole this from a restaurant in Napa that I used to go to all the time growing up, but you get like a cheddar biscuit and do ricotta, prosciutto, red pepper jelly. Eat it like a sandwich.
Oh my word, yes.
Such a good snack.
Yeah, I've never done the ricotta red pepper, but that why wouldn't it work? It sounds awesome.
I mean, you could do mascarpone, you could do cream cheese, just like a softer, neutral cheese.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So good.
Yes. Oh man, I need to go eat something. So this is bad. Yes. I think, anything else to say about the jams and jellies? You're going to do your clotted cream eventually, and we'll hear about that.
I will, yeah. And that'll be probably when I get fully moved into my apartment. I'll start doing some longer processes with cooking.
Yes.
And I'll post
So I've made ricotta, and that's super easy. Just milk and lemon juice, right? I just
we cheesecloth and strain it and let it curdle.
It's the quick recipe. What does a clotted cream involve? You said like cooking it all night?
Yeah, from what I remember from the recipes that I read, you put the cream in like a baking dish, essentially. My initial reaction was to not put it in a metal baking dish, but maybe like a ceramic or glass baking dish.
Sure.
And bake it on low for 12 hours.
Jeez.
And I think you add sugar in this process. I'm not sure if there's an acid added or not. Can't remember, but
I imagine it might separate on its own
yeah,
without adding an acid, but
you can make it in the Instant Pot too, but that's also a 12-hour process. So.
Really? People love their Instant Pots. I still don't have one.
So fun fact, I hate making rice. It is my least favorite item of food to cook. Cooking it in the Instant Pot, 12 minutes, equal parts water and rice, perfect rice.
That's that, really?
Yeah.
Mine always wants to stick to the bottom of the pan, and I don't stir it enough. And
yeah, I mean, you can't. The only issue is you can't leave it on the warming setting, or else that will definitely happen. So as soon as it's done, I just take the whole thing out of the pot, so it doesn't continue to cook. But yeah, perfect rice every time.
I'll get one for rice.
Yes,
I agree. I hate.
You also probably get a rice cooker, but you can do a lot more with the Instant Pot.
Oh yeah, get one tool that does 10 things versus the one rice cooker.
Exactly.
So, yes. Well, back to your social media. You did some cool stuff with Blood Origins a little while ago. Yeah. Can you talk about that some?
Absolutely. Blood Origins created a documentary. It's called Lionheart. Yes. It's about mountain lion hunting and the history behind it and why we do it and, why it's also for the meat.
You got to watch the film, right?
I didn't.
Oh, no.
There. I was in the back room, bringing food down. And
I guess you're working now, right?
I was working, but I was able to watch it afterwards. It's posted online.
It's live on YouTube now. Mm-hmm. My buddy Adam had a hand in making it. So Adam Perry is just a dynamite videographer here in Indiana, and he helped make that film, and it is a beautiful film. So we'll link it below. Like, you got to watch it if you haven't seen this documentary. You need to hear it.
Especially if you live in Colorado, because it's on.
Especially, yes.
Yeah. There's a measure on the ballot that is.
If you're listening to this before the election, yes, there is some politics involved coming up soon. So pay attention there. Make a vote.
But they asked me to cater that event. So it was about 280 people. And a bunch of meat was donated for the event. So we had a lot of hunters come together, which was amazing, and donate a ton of meat. I had meat flown in from California. There was a ton from Colorado. So we cooked mountain lion, we cooked bear, wild pig, and venison.
That's awesome.
And my thought process with the mountain lion is that it is a very exotic meat. There's not a lot of people talking about eating mountain lion. There's the occasional YouTube video if you search really, really hard on the internet.
Would you consider that like a taboo food? I mean, to the average American.
It's just a little off-putting. They resemble, our pet cats a lot. And
they are cats.
Right. And especially bobcat as well, since they're a little bit smaller. But my thought process on the dish that I was serving was, since a lot of people haven't tried this and are probably a little bit scared to create a dish that is familiar to them. So I did pulled pork sliders essentially, but replaced the pork with mountain lion.
Pulled lion sliders. Yes.
It was really, really, really awesome. Nice. So I braised the mountain lion for, 8-10 hours on low. The loins obviously need a lot less time, but the leg meat and the thighs, they're just one big muscle essentially. So you really need that longer braising time to break down those muscle fibers and get it, to an edible consistency. Yeah. But I think that went over really, really well. And we had a bunch of bear sausage. So I did a bear sausage jambalaya, wild pork green chili. What was the other one? It was a venison something.
We'll have to go back and look at your post.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
Yes.
But it was, really well received. And a lot of people that are hunters in Colorado haven't even tried mountain lion. It's a very niche, hunting genre, I would say. And, you do need dogs to hunt mountain lions, and you need the right terrain. And there's just a lot that goes into it.
Well, if you watch the film, like, it's a production.
Yes.
To chase these things. And it takes the right kind of person too. Like, on top of all the factors you just mentioned, you got to have grit to get through all that.
Absolutely.
But I've heard just amazing things about the protein. It's a beautiful meat, and I mean, very similar to pork. Is that correct?
Very similar.
Very,
Yeah, I would.
more porky than
Yeah.
beef. Yeah.
I would say if you have mountain lion and you don't know what to do with it, find, some pork recipes that you really like, and that'll translate really, really well. And I think honestly, a lot of the cooking preparations would be the same. But again, I would just pay attention to your temperature of your meat, because you do want to get it past the trichinosis stage.
I was about to ask. Yeah.
Yes.
So same as bear, you need to watch out for the
Yes.
little
Any
critters.
predator has the potential to carry it.
Okay.
So I'm always overcautious, especially since I feed other people to cook it, to at or above. I think it was 137. I think that's like the official temperature, but I mean,
really?
140, I think.
That seems
It seems kind of low.
seems low, yeah. Well, I know
I'll have to
time is a
fact
big
check me
factor.
on that.
Time's a big factor too. So if it's a lower
yeah.
temperature but at 8 hours, I think it's going to do the same thing.
So sous vide would be a good tip for that, so that you're absolutely sure that you're above that temperature and you're also not overcooking the meat. So
yeah. Now you think with mountain lion, it's pretty lean, correct?
Very, very lean, yes.
So taking that to 200 like you would pork on a smoker, like, do you think that would that ruin the cat?
I
saying cat's weird, but
not really familiar with cooking on smokers or anything like that. Just living in an apartment for a lot of years, I don't really get that luxury of cooking with smokers. I mean, I think to get around that, and I know you could always wrap it in bacon or some other fatty meat to get that meat fat consistency on there too, but I don't know. I haven't played around with it, but I definitely think just being cautious of not overcooking it, braising it, getting some of that liquid to stay in there as much as possible would be great.
Yeah. Well, do you recall what you braised it in?
I did apple cider vinegar, apple juice, some mustard, chicken stock, brown sugar, and like some chili flakes and salt and pepper.
Yes.
And then barbecue sauce.
Oh my
obviously.
So a lot of the people that went to this event, you said, were most likely not lion hunters.
Most likely. I mean, there were definitely a few there,
Sure.
but since it's such a niche hunting, thing, I've had a lot of hunters that I know personally that are like avid elk hunters and mule deer and all this other stuff, but had never gone mountain lion hunting. There were also some non-hunters there, and they were super excited to try mountain lion. It was just a whole, swath of people, non-hunters, hunters.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's such an awesome thing that you got to cook for that group of people. And I mean, just blood origins in general, like just to meet all of that crew would be super fun. And
yeah. Well, I had met Robbie actually in 2021. I flew to Louisiana, or Mississippi, Louisiana, to hang out with and meet one of my other wild game chef friends. And she knows Robbie, and we ended up going frogging in the middle of the night. And it was the most fun experience ever. I've never
with Robbie. With Robbie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he drove over, and I mean, it was just, these frogs were like huge. They were just massive bullfrogs, and
oh my gosh.
And then we cooked those up, and it was such a fun experience. So him and I have been in contact, throughout the years, just checking on various projects and stuff. So it was really awesome to see him again.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully some more of those opportunities pop up for you. And
yes,
not sure what you're aiming for here in the future, but if cooking's one of those things, so.
Definitely. I mean, doing events for conservation groups, I work with Ducks Unlimited quite a bit.
Awesome.
To do fundraisers and other events. And it's a ton of fun, and it's just great to meet like-minded people and cook some exotic meats and share recipes.
You might have to send us your rates, because I'm trying to get the Okayest network together for a big hangout. So
absolutely.
We'll need to. Well, I'm not going to be doing the cooking. I'm just all right at it. So we need to bring someone in who knows what they're doing. So we'll put you on the list. Yes. Sounds awesome. Well, we never really got into your credentials, like why we should trust you.
Ooh,
And I know you did a podcast recording with, oh man, I'm blanking on the notes. The producer,
True Grit.
True Grit.
Chase.
Yes. Yeah. Chase with Grit. Look that up if you want to hear Rikki's life story and kind of what got her going. But do you want to like maybe just give us like the 2-minute version or like the 30-second version of kind of some of your history, and then
Absolutely.
we can get into like some
grew
hot
up.
tips.
Yeah, I grew up in Napa Valley. And at 15, I started working in really kind of prestigious restaurants. I don't know how I managed to get into that. But I started working at the Culinary Institute of America. Then I was at the French Laundry, and then I moved to Seattle to work at Canlis for a while, and then moved to the East Coast to open a bunch of restaurants in DC.
Oh my gosh.
But I was always front of house. I hated cooking. I was like, but I loved good food. And I was in DC, and I just kind of wanted a life change, and was kind of burnt out with restaurants. So I didn't want to move back to California. So I picked Colorado because it's mountainous and beautiful. And once I moved here, I just rabbit holed really hard on where our food actually comes from. Because to me, it was always just in the back of a Sysco truck showing up at the restaurant. And just started reading about hunting, and really, really liked the thought of, going out and harvesting your own food. And I did end up going to culinary school kind of on accident. I went to get a degree in nutrition, and halfway through, after I'd already gotten my culinary degree part of it, they closed my campus. So I was like, well, I guess this is what I'm doing with my life. And it's been the greatest thing. And, having that hospitality background and knowing what good food is and where it comes from, I think is such an important part to being a chef, because it's not just about the food. It's, who you're serving. It's where you're getting the food from, whether it's ranchers or farmers or other hunters. So it's just a really awesome way to connect with people, because everyone eats.
That is true. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. That's what got me into cooking and kind of where I am today. Just, I love photographing food, and obviously the podcast is all about food.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, just learning where good food comes from. And to me, more importantly, it's like where, or like not necessarily just where that food came from, but like the process, like how did it get from there to my tummy?
Correct.
So just knowing, that whole journey. And like when I take a deer, it's like, I know I'm the only one that's touched that meat. And I know how long it's been in my freezer. And when it comes from the grocery store, it's like,
who knows?
Nobody knows. Jeremiah Doughty's got an awesome paragraph on that. It's like probably a dozen people have handled that. It's probably traveled who knows how many miles and how many months sitting here and there and here and there. And it's a process. So just eliminating that middleman to
absolutely
save a ton and like just capitalize on that flavor is awesome. But that's super cool. I love it. Why do you think school changed like your view on things? Like, did it, because I've talked to some self-taught people, like Justin at Harvesting Nature, like he's all self-taught, but like,
yes,
I just assumed that guy went to school for all this stuff.
Oh, he's so talented.
But like he's just got the brain to just do the research on his own. But like, is that, is that something you would recommend?
No,
or okay.
Hard no, absolutely not. The only reason why I did it was because I wanted to become a nutritionist.
Okay.
And the way that they have their degree set up, it's like you have to go through culinary school before you could get the science part of it done.
Really?
And that is, it doesn't matter if you've been in the restaurant industry for 10 years at that point, like I had. That's just how they do the degree. I always recommend people that do want to learn how to cook to start at a restaurant. Don't pay, don't go in debt learning how to cook, because there are some really talented chefs that maybe have already gone through school or that are amazingly self-taught that will teach you along the way.
Just go do it.
Just go do it. You might have to start out washing dishes. You might have to start out on a station that you don't like, but gathering all the knowledge and skills and tips and tricks along the way will make you so much more well-rounded than someone coming fresh out of culinary school.
Sure.
They're in a lot of debt, and they think that they generally are better than they are. And you're getting paid to learn instead of paying to learn. So
when you still have to start at the bottom.
Yeah.
After you go to school,
yeah.
right?
Even if you're coming out of culinary school, you're still washing dishes. So just bite the bullet and just start.
Yeah. Well, as a photographer, I kind of recommend the same. So I went to school. I studied photography. I don't regret it. It was awesome. Learned a ton. But I learned a ton of different information by just doing it.
Yes.
And one of my big regrets in my career was not working with other photographers. I just jumped in, did it all myself. So kind of sounds like cooking is pretty much the same. Just
it's very similar. I remember I was asking my professor how to do something, or I wanted, his wisdom on a certain dish. I can't remember exactly what it was. And he looked at me and he was like, I don't know, just YouTube it. And I was like,
oh, jeez. That's why you're here. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, especially nowadays, there's just so much information online, and I say it's a waste of money, but there are very successful chefs that have come out of culinary school too. I'm not completely bashing it, but there's just better ways to go about it.
As I think about it, if you've got the determination, if you're like Justin, who can just go out and read a book and do it, I don't think I would have had that kind of persistence to learn it all myself.
Right.
My personality, I think, needed school.
Some structure.
Even though I learned more after school.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, the structure is nice. Yeah. My creative scatterbrain mind needs some help. But yes. Well, do you have some hot tips for somebody who just wants to cook better in the kitchen? Or because I know so when Harvesting Nature was on, we just talked about a bunch of random techniques. A couple of techniques to help save a dish that's been kind of ruined, or dishes to wow techniques to wow your guests, like the flambeau or something weird like that.
Flambe.
I forget maybe what's the one that where it's like he's got this weird tool and like you're dripping the burning oil. Which is that, flambe or flambeau or flambe? Okay.
Yeah.
it's way up here. So Justin was talking about it. But yeah, if you've got any like hot tips or like, it could be anything just from like,
I think
do this instead of that, or
going back to basics and looking at your ingredients and your tools. You can buy, a box set of really crappy pans at Walmart. They're awful. Don't do that. Invest in a really nice cast iron, and you don't have to buy a ton of them. Just buy one nice cast iron or one nice Dutch oven, something that is, you can utilize for multiple things. So you're not just wasting space in your kitchen. Get a higher quality chef knife. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. It could be $150, and take care of it like it's your baby. Don't put it in the dishwasher. Make sure it's sharp. And I think my last thing is look at your base ingredients. Look at what salts you have. What cooking oil do you have? Is it, a lot of people cook with olive oil, but the smoke temp on that is so low. Switching over to avocado oil or tallow or duck fat, something like that. Just really starting from a place of simplicity and higher quality.
Definitely.
I think we'll end up making your dishes great in the long run.
Yes. So it sounds like you're the cast iron versus steel.
With most things.
Most things, okay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get my cast iron pan seasoned enough to where I could fry an egg in it and it slides around the pan. Yes. But so I'll use, steel with.
I've done eggs once in my cast iron successfully.
Yeah.
And all the other times it's just a sticky mess. So.
Yeah. Oh, and it's just so annoying.
I need to use it more.
But, I do a lot of baked egg dishes in my cast iron, lots of frittatas. I just like that you can use it on the stove, or you can just throw it in your oven and not worry about it. It's really
ditch the nonstick,
one
right?
pan. Yeah.
Just cook properly, and you don't need the nonstick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, with all the microplastics and weird stuff going on right now, I try to avoid anything because you inevitably will use something, to scratch the surface of it. So you are ingesting those whatever particles. And Ugh,
There's
no
a lot
thank you.
going on. A lot of
Yeah.
chemicals and nastiness. So replace it all with tallow. That's the way to
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
I had another question, but it escaped me. I forget. You mentioned cast iron, and I just kind of went down this rabbit hole in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I literally just ruined the seasoning on one of my Dutch ovens because I cooked something too acidic for too long, and
Yeah. Yep.
it's
That'll
kind of
do
getting
it
some
too.
rust buildup. So I need to scratch it down and re-season that thing. And
Well, I mean, the great thing is that the pan's not ruined.
Yeah.
You just have to put some love into it and it'll come right back. I mean, I've seen some really awful cast iron pans just totally beat up, and you season them a couple times, you scrub them out real good, and then they're like brand new. So they're pretty indestructible.
I follow some of those guys online, and they restore the pans, and it's so awesome. But
it's so interesting to watch.
Yes, just all that nastiness that comes off of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Rikki, do you want to tell us where we can find you? I don't want to hold you up too long here, but we can keep chatting. But before I forget, I think critically, and we'll paste all your information down below. But tell us where we can hunt you down and see what you're up to.
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. It's wild_and_foraged_, which is the worst.
Yes.
I need to change it, but that's what it is. So that's where I post most of my photos and recipes. I am working on rebuilding my website. So that's coming soon too.
Nice.
And on LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn, just search Rikki Folger and you'll find me there.
Yeah. And you are for hire? So if somebody wants to fly you out to the Bahamas and cook you
looking
something?
for catering events or working with conservation groups here in Colorado. Working in the hospitality industry, you really get training in all sorts of work. So office work and cooking and hospitality and blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
Yes. Last couple questions here, but cookbook, is there a cookbook in your
also
future at all?
On it.
Or
I'm trying to get my life settled at the moment.
Aren't we all?
So once I move into my apartment and I'm kind of, find a good job, and then I'll start seriously working on it. One of the things is photography is not one of my skills. I do have a camera, but I need to sit down. So if you have any like YouTube video recommendations for me to watch on how to take photos, that's definitely my weakest link there.
Find a big window.
Yeah.
Kill the overheads. Find a big window. Yeah. It's more about the plating and presentation. Like that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
So it's like getting a good surface to put your food on, and then just keeping the food looking pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks, but all the best tasting food just looks bad.
Yeah.
Like I just did a stew, and it's like, oh, how do you make stew look good?
Well, so fun fact, I like to go to bookstores and look through cookbooks and stuff. And, some of these recipes that I see are fantastic, but then I look at the food photos and I'm like, that doesn't look good. Like I get why it would taste good, but visually it's just not appealing. It's not jumping off the page for me.
It's tricky. Yeah.
So I just like to go get ideas and stuff from
Well, I've got a huge cookbook collection, so
yes, so do I.
Be adding yours to mine real quick. So and if you need help, I've been dying to photograph a cookbook. So
perfect. Okay.
I'm asking everybody.
Yeah.
If you need a cookbook help,
we'll chat.
We'll come take those pictures.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I love that idea. Super. Hopefully that comes to you pretty quick.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Yes. So your website, is that currently live or coming soon?
It's not live. I had a website for a couple of years, not technologically savvy at all either. Okay. So I cook real good. Computers are not great. But it just wasn't, it was just more of a placeholder for stuff. And now I have so much content and so much more information to post on there.
Awesome. Yeah.
I just want to make it look pretty and maybe do a little rebrand and stuff like that. So
so keep our eyes on your socials.
What was that?
Keep our eyes on your socials.
Yes. Yeah. That's mainly where I'll be.
Yes.
And then once everything is loaded and ready to go, I'll, make a post. And
yes, excited about that.
Yeah.
I think my last question here officially, as a chef / recipe developer, does this all describe you?
Yeah.
So as a recipe developer, for an average guy like me, an average cook, when does a recipe become yours? So if like if I'm like I take a book and I do the recipe, but I'm like, I think it'd be better if I did yada yada yada. Like, how many things do you have to change before it's no longer their recipe?
What they
and
say
it's
in culinary school, you have to change 3 things.
3 things, okay.
3 things. And what I do when I'm recipe developing is, to get ideas, you just Google search a bunch of different recipes for the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'll read through every single recipe, all the ingredients, and I'll pick out, like, oh, that's great. I love that. That's stupid. Why did you do that? And kind of put together an idea in my head after reading, 10, 15 different recipes.
Yeah.
And, obviously keeping track so you're not plagiarizing someone else's recipe,
Exactly.
but just getting ideas, and then you can put your own little spin on it. You can, add more of an ingredient if you think that it needs that. You can change the cooking technique.
Sure.
It's not exactly difficult to change 3 things, but you just have to be very mindful when you're doing it.
Yeah.
I should say. Write everything down.
Yes. Well, that's what I need to get better at.
Yes.
So Andy Heiser, he's another co-host. He's got a book called The Flavor Bible. And I don't own a copy, but I need one real bad. But like, it talks a lot about like, are you familiar with the book? It's like,
I'm not. It sounds like something I need to add to my.
Yeah. I guess it's a book that like really breaks down like flavors, and like if you don't know what saffron is, you can look up saffron. It'll tell you all about it, tell you how to use it, tell you maybe some replacements if you don't have saffron. So like, I think that'd be an awesome resource for someone who's trying to take a fancy recipe and maybe dumb it down, or most of the time in my case, I look at the recipe, I'm like, well, I don't have that. So what else can I do?
That's what it's like cooking at the lodge too. Since we're so remote, it's like, you're on a cooking show every day. Like, okay, I don't have this thing. What can I replace it with?
It's Ricky's version of Chopped.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun, but you get really creative doing that.
So. Oh man, that sounds exciting. Well, I would love to sit down and like share a meal and just hanging out at POMA, just asking you about salt, just grilling you about all the different salt questions. One night was so much fun. So I can't see what you do with the website, and I think a book would be stellar. So
yeah, working on it.
So
I know everyone
fun.
keeps.
That's a lot of work, though.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no pressure there, but I would love to have it on my shelf. Yes. Well, any parting thoughts here before we hop off and just get back to life?
I'm really excited for fall and winter foods and stews and rich, savory braises and.
Oh my gosh!
What's
your go-to like rib sticking stew?
Cassoulet. I guess I don't think that's really a stew, but it's a duck. It's a French dish made with beans and bacon and duck confit, and it's exactly that. It's rib sticking.
What's it called?
And hearty and delightful and very easy to make.
Oh my gosh! What's it called again?
Cassoulet. Don't ask me how to spell it.
But it's bacon and ducks and beans. And,
duck confit, lots of duck fat, amazing beets.
It just sounds so rich and decadent.
It is.
Oh my gosh! Well, I first picked when you started describing. I'm picturing just like ham and beans and like ham hocks and just that rich pig foot flavor you get.
Falls off the bone. And,
oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up. And I'm going to try it because it sounds so good.
It's really yummy.
But yes. Okay. So we'll be making that pretty quick. Report back with all your favorite stews and whatnot. So, well, Rikki, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an awesome conversation. Can't wait to see where life takes you. And
me too. And thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
We'll catch up soon. So keep posting where we can find you. Especially if you're in Colorado, if there's ever like a DU event that you can go to that Rikki's cooking for, like, do it. It's going to be awesome. So, especially if she's cooking mountain lion, man, I'm so jealous. I want to try that so bad. But awesome. Well, until then, we'll catch up. We'll keep our eyes on your socials and just keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate your time.